Hello. Welcome to Pyramid Nuts. I am Liz. Hi. I am coming to you from my home outside of Taos, New Mexico, in the southwestern United States. I'm a knitter and natural dyer. I started doing a blog uh, over a year ago now, and I got a few episodes into it, and it just kind of fizzled out. So we'll see how we go this time around. But life stuff just kept happening, and I was crazy busy all summer and last winter, whatever. Anyway, point being, I haven't done this in over a year. So, thank you for bearing with me. Um, yeah, so I kind of wanted to get back into this because I have been feeling. Trying to figure out this new camera setup too. Um, I've been feeling the need to really kind of ground and reconnect lately, and I've been doing a lot of knitting, um, and I've been really inspired lately, and I've been doing natural dyeing as well. I started selling my own stuff in the fall at the local shop here in Taos, which is really exciting. So, I just have my little shelf there. Um, but I've got some stuff out there, and it's fun. It's fun to see it go off the shelves, see people look at it and everything. I work sometimes part-time down at the yarn shop, Vortex Yarns. If you're ever in Taos, come check us out. I'm kind of the random fill-in person there when somebody else wants to take a vacation. So anyway, yeah, a little bit about me. I have been knitting for about 10 years. I did not learn this whenever I was a kid. I started learning to knit when I was 28. So yeah, 27, 27, almost 28, whatever. I was well an adult and took on a new skill whenever I was laid off from my job for 6 months during the Great Recession, and it seemed like a fun hobby to pick up when I had a little extra time on my hands. And indeed it was, and quickly turned into an obsession. And that's what I spend most of my free time doing these days. Is knitting and dyeing and falling further down the fiber rabbit hole until hopefully I find all the other little fiber rabbits down there in the hole, and we can all huddle up together and have a great little knitty time. So, yeah, natural dyeing. Whenever I moved down here to New Mexico, I used to live up in Oregon. I've been down here for a few years now. I started doing an apprenticeship with a master natural dyer who lives about an hour from me. And I would go and work with her once a week for about a year. And she kind of taught me everything she knew, and I helped her do her work whenever she had shoulder surgery and she couldn't like physically lift pounds of wet yarn out of kettles and things. So that was a really fun experience, and I learned a ton, and have since then been dabbling on my own, but now I'm starting to get more serious into it, and like I said, I'm selling it in the shop now. So I'll have a little bit of dye stuff to show you towards the end, but I figured I would just start off with knitting because that's what I've been doing a lot of lately. So moving on to my works in progress, which are lengthy. But first of all, before we get into that, I'm going to have a sip of beer. Because let's be real, at the end of the day, whenever I sit down to work on a project and watch a movie, odds are I'm going to have a beverage. So let's just go with it. I was really excited to see this one in the store the other day. Yeah, Celebration from Tierra Nevada. It's one of my favorite Christmassy, holiday, seasonal beers. It's still really hoppy and fresh, but it's a little bit maltier and darker, and it's so nice whenever it's cold outside. And I mentioned that I used to live in Oregon, and as you can see, I'm representing my Oregon craft beer. I definitely lived there long enough to be a certified beer snob. So, works in progress. What do I have first? Oh, so I impulse cast this one on because I work part-time in a yarn shop. And you find yourself in the afternoon, whenever, you know, it's been slow and nobody's come in for a little while, just eyeing that one particular color or that one particular yarn that just came in and thinking, oh, wouldn't that one pattern be so nice in that? And I get a discount and I might as well just buy it and cast it on. And that's pretty much what happened with this. It's a Whitehorse sweater by Caitlin Hunter, as if you didn't already know that. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Can you see the whole thing? Oh, there we go. Now you can see the whole thing. So all I have is one sleeve to go. This, I think the problem is this last sleeve took me a day to knit. Once I actually started it, I was done by the evening. So I know it's going to be so fast because they're not full sleeves. That I guess I've just been procrastinating because it's like, oh, well, once I do it, it'll be done. And I should just do it. So here, I'll go ahead and try it on now. So you can see how it's fitting. And I really like it. I'm a little bit worried about the neckline. It seems really wide. Like, it's fine where it is now, but I'm afraid after I block it and all of this lace kind of opens up, that this neck is just going to be really big. Which, I don't know, it's kind of nice under the collared shirt. I haven't thought about wearing it with this. Yeah, and that kind of fills in the neckline there, too. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to wear something underneath it because of all the lace. That's sort of the point. Modifications, I'm doing extra decreases on the sleeve. I believe in the pattern they have you knit even, like almost until the very end, and then you do some really quick decreases to cinch it in and do the kind of balloon sleeve. But I don't really like that look. It's just a little bit exaggerated for me, so I still kept it pretty big and open, so the armhole opening is still the same as the pattern. Sorry, I keep losing being able to see myself. And then as you can see, these are marking my decreases, so I just kind of winged it. And I did every 7 rows for the first couple, and then it was like every 4 rows. I just kept decreasing down and trying it on as I went. And then at the very end, I still did 1 round of like a super decrease round to cinch it in. So it's a little bit more fitted than the pattern, but yeah, not super fitted. I really like how it turned out. Yeah, so I just have 1 sleeve to go, and then this will be done. Done. I should really finish it. Yeah, and that nice crop length. Oh, this is great with this top underneath. Oh, yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. All right, good. There's 1 styling option for my Whitehorse when that's done. So hopefully this will be done in the next week. It should be. It should be, as long as I don't get distracted on one of these other in this giant pile. Okay. Oh, and the yarn. I forgot about the yarn. The yarn, I sat and coveted at the yarn shop while I was working there. It's Elizabeth Lavold, I think. Is that how you say her name? Silky wool in the colorway aubergine. Or aubergine. I don't know how to say that either. Eggplant. It's eggplant. And I'm really loving working with the yarn. It's got a really nice texture to it. I have the ball here. I don't know if that's gonna work. Anywho, it's got a really nice texture to the yarn. You can kind of maybe see. There we go. Possibly. Anyway, which I'm really liking with this lace pattern and the baubles. I feel like it's kind of, I mean, it's not an abstract pattern, but it is a little bit sort of all, it's a bold, it's a bold lace yoke. And I kind of like the way that this more rustic looking wool, and kind of the way that it has the variation in the color. I think it's from the silk that's in there because it's a silk wool blend. It kind of muddles up the pattern a little bit. You can definitely still see it. There we go. But it just gives it a little bit more texture, a little bit more softness to it, which I'm really, really loving. I'm excited about this being done. So next up is a very sad whip, and now that my hair is all goofy. A very sad whip. I started this thing 2 years ago. 2 winters ago. And it was just one of those cursed projects. Like, it should have been super quick and easy. It's a Fair Isle knitted headband with lining on the inside. So I haven't tacked them together yet. I haven't knit them together yet. But you can see the inside has this lining, which is a wool cashmere. It's Capretta from Knit Picks. And then it has this cool little snowflake Fair Isle all around. And this is all of it's stash yarn that I had. All the color work is done in Knit Picks palette. Just stuff left over from other projects. And I think the Capretta was a gift at one point. But it seemed like the perfect thing because it's kind of a boring brown. Like, it's such a nice soft yarn because it's got that cashmere in it. But I just had 2 balls of it, and it's like, I mean, I could make a hat out of it, but it's just like, it's kind of like ick. That's not a real exciting color. So I figured it's going to be perfect for this. So it'll be nice and soft and warm on the inside, and then I've got the palette there on the outside, which is excellent for color work. I highly recommend it. I really like this yarn a lot. Very affordable, pretty hard wearing. I have some sweaters I have knit in palette, at least one sweater I've knit in palette that has held up really well. It's a little bit pilly under the arms, but it's really quite comfortable and I can wear it next to my skin. Like, it doesn't itch my arms at all or anything. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this yarn. So I started this 2 years ago. back to the beginning of this story. I started this thing 2 years ago. You cast on the lining first into the lining. I must have done that, oh my god, like 5 times. I kept twisting the join. I kept casting on the wrong number of stitches. I knit the entire lining once and didn't realize I had like 8 too many stitches. Like, a lot. Until I started the color work and it didn't line up. And eventually I just said, screw it, you are in the naughty bin. And it has been in the naughty bin for 2 years. But I really wanted it. I really want to be able to wear this. I have a big dog and I take him for walks. And like, we went out for a walk today and it's very snowy outside. We had a couple of big winter storms come through right before Thanksgiving and over Thanksgiving and over the weekend. And today was the first day we could really get outside. Like, the weather's just been so gross. It was actually pretty nice yesterday, but most of the day it was crazy windy, just crazy windy. You went outside and it just, woo, it went through anything you were wearing and just like frigid in a minute. So my dog and I went out for a nice snow walk earlier this afternoon, and I really wanted to be able to wear this because this would have been absolutely perfect because the sun is out. It feels nice and warm on your skin, but it's still, freezing outside and you're walking through the snow. So finally, I got the right number of stitches. I did manage to use the wrong needle on the lining at some point after I set it down for such a long time. I came back with a tinier needle than I was supposed to have, so half the lining is knit like at a really tight gauge. And I actually had to go back and knit extra rows on the lining so that they would match up because, yeah, I just kind of messed that up. If it's not one thing, it's another. So all I have to do now is do an I-cord bind off on the top, connecting the pieces together. And then you do a mirrored, you pick up and do an I-cord all on the bottom so that it's mirrored. And give it a nice little soak in a block, and it's done. So again, hopefully this will be done this week sometime. It really should be. It really should be. After 2 years, it should be done. So, that's Whitehorse. That is, oh, and the actual pattern is Woolly Winter Walking Wardrobe #1 from Kate Davies. It's one of her first patterns, I think. Super cute. Should be fast. Should not take 2 years. So next up is another sweater. Oops. My Whitehorse just fell on the floor. Is another sweater, and I am knitting this out of Elsa Wool Woolen Spun Sport Weight Cormo. And it is just beautiful. I love it. I bought it at the Taos Wool Fest last year, and it took me almost a full year to finally cast on. Which I am doing Widow's Kiss from Thea Coleman. And I just love every pattern she puts out, I swear. Here we go. It's a nice, cabley, cozy thing. And so far, I have 2 sleeves. 1, 2. All done. And start of the body. And it's looking pretty good so far. I'm really liking it. Yeah, this yarn is lovely to work with. The pattern seems like it's going to be pretty intuitive. It's pretty cool, this cable pattern. Like, it ends up looking so complicated. I don't know if you can see it that well. It didn't print out very well either. But the actual pattern, most of it you're knitting 2x2 rib. And then every once in a while you have your, cable crossover section, but then as you can see, you're just knitting 2x2 rib for like a good chunk of it. And then you do your cable crossovers and go back to 2x2 rib. So I think the body's actually going to go pretty quickly once I get into it. I've just been, I was working on Whitehorse last week, and I haven't put that much time into this one in the last week or so. But this one is lovely and exciting and coming along. I would love to have that done by Christmas, but that seems kind of ambitious. That seems a little bit ambitious for me at this point. New Year's, maybe? We'll see. Okay. I cast on a litmus cowl from what I bought at Taos Wool Fest this year. So I bought a gradient set. Take a look at that. The white didn't come with it. I bought that as a contrast. But it's this great blue gradient. 6 different colors from the 100th Sheep in Colorado. There we go. Let's see, what is it? It's superwash merino, 80% superwash merino, 20% Tessa silk. 680 yards total. In the colorway Beryl Quartz. So, I impulse bought the gradient set. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. I kept looking around, and then I remembered Amy Florence of the Stranded Podcast had the litmus cowl, which I thought was super cute. And she did hers in more of like a muted rainbow colorway. But I thought, oh my god, this is going to be perfect. And one of those yarns at the yarn shop that you just kind of sit there and stare at while you're working. And think, oh, I wish I could use that for a project. It's the Fiberco Acadia. And it's in colorway, I'm not sure. Natural, maybe? I'm going to go out on a limb on that one. Acadia, a rustic blend of silk, noil, baby alpaca, and merino wool. So it matches the other yarn pretty well. Egret is the dye lot. The fiber company. Acadia. So it's a DK and the gradient is fingering. So they don't quite match up, which is why the white stripes are shorter than the colored blue stripes. Because the first couple of stripes, I was weighing the yarn the whole time to try and see how much, if I divide everything by 4, I'm going to have 4 repeats of the gradient. How much I can use out of the white and how much I can use out of the colors. Oh my goodness. So it ended up, I weight-wise divided by 4 across everything is 8 rows of the natural white and 16 rows of the color. 8 rows, 16. So it worked out nicely. So the color stripes are twice as wide as the white stripes. And I've made it through 1 full gradient repeat, which goes to here. And now I'm going to go back out in the other direction. So these last 2 stripes are the same blue. And that's going to start fading back in the other way. So that's a fun project, and it's so super simple and mindless. It's just stacking it around for 8 rows and then for 16 rows. And since you Kitchener it in at the end, because it's like a circular scarf thing, you don't have to weave in your ends because they're all on the inside of the tube. It's great. It's fantastic. It's great and it's fantastic. I apologize. I keep not looking at the camera, and it's really, I'm going to get better at that. Maybe one day I'll get better at that. Okay. Socks. I always have a pair of socks in my bag. I am not a sock knitter. I do not like knitting socks. About all I can muster with socks is just vanilla German short row heel. But you know what? That works for me. I don't wear through my socks. I'm pretty easy on them. I still have my first pair of socks is in my regular rotation that I made, God, like probably 8 years ago or something. Like, I've been knitting for 10 years. Like, I made socks pretty early on in the first few years. So yeah, like 8 years ago, and I wear them all the time, and they're still going just fine. And those, for anybody who cares, I made from Knit Picks Fleecy, which a lot of people say is not that hard wearing of a sock yarn because it's really soft, which is why it's so nice. But none of my Fleecy socks have ever had a problem. I put them in the wash, I put them in the dryer. I don't have a dryer anymore, but whenever I did, I just threw them in with all the rest of the laundry, and it was always fine. So these are the socks I'm working on now. They're so pretty and fun. I love this color. Love this colorway. It's Zen Garden Sock. I do all my socks on size 1, US size 1 needles, German short row heel, 64 stitches around, toe up, 1 at a time. That's all I do. That's all I do. I just want it to be nice and easy. I want it to be in my purse so that anytime I am in some, location where I have to sit and wait for 5 minutes, I can knit on my sock. But it is Zen Garden. Let's see. One of a kind color, Gia. And it's kind of cute. They have the little coordinates with colorway at the bottom, which is nice and adorable, except for the fact that we didn't actually carry any of the coordinating colors. This was another one of those sitting in the yarn shop and just like, ooh, I want some socks made out of that. Come on, focus. There you go. It's just so pretty. So pretty. So that's my current sock project. I have many more sock projects in the queue. I'm not really a stash yarn person. I don't really have a stash. I have like a few random skeins here and there. But I generally just buy stuff for specific projects. It's rare that I don't. for both of my Taos Woolfest purchases, the one from last year and the one from this year, the Litmus Cowl and the Widow's Kiss sweater, both of those I bought that yarn not knowing what I was going to do with it. And it really kind of stressed me out. Like I had to find a project pretty quickly. And even if I didn't cast it on right away, like I knew what I was going to use it for. The exception with that is now I'm starting to let myself buy sock yarn whenever I see a really pretty sock yarn somewhere. And I've done that a little bit recently. I got some more at the Taos Woolfest. I just went out to California to visit some friends. And I picked up a sock set at the yarn shop in Half Moon Bay when I was out there. So I have kind of like an in the queue sock yarn stash. But I think I have 3 skeins in my sock yarn queue, which I probably will out. Oh, I just stabbed myself. Those things are sharp. Those needles are really sharp. They're the Chiaogu lace. Yeah, very pokey. Careful. You can hurt yourself with those things. What was I saying about sock yarn? Yeah, so I have a few sock yarns in the queue in my stash, but I don't like keep sweater quantities of things, or I have a hard time buying stuff it doesn't have a plan. Is my point. So socks. I have one more work in progress. Okay, so my last work in progress is some mitts by Ellie of Skinny Deer. She recently came out with a Speedy Snow Mittens collection. And they're all bulky weight mitten patterns. And here is my right mitten so far. I actually cast this one on this morning, so it's going really, really quickly. Yeah, while I was drinking my coffee, I knit the whole cuff and like up to probably about here or so. And then I sat down for just a little bit before I recorded this for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something, and knit this extra bit just so you can see the pattern a little bit better. And I wanted to compare it to the left mitt that I cast on last night. So you can definitely see the difference in tension on these and how much better the right one looks than the left one. Like, oh my God. Look at that. That is such a difference. So I always have this problem with ferrule tension that my rows get really, really elongated. And I mean, you can't tell it as much on something like this because this is fingering weight yarn. And it's easier to fudge it. And like this hasn't been blocked yet. You know, I mean, you can see where it's going to relax a bit. But it's just not quite as noticeable whenever you're on a finer gauge like this. But on this bulky weight yarn, it was just looking really bad. Like really bad. So I posted a comment over in Skein-Deer's forum, and lovely Miss Ellie got back to me and said it has to do with the length of the floats on the back. Which is weird because like the stitches get so long. Like look how tall some of those yellow stitches are. It's just bonkers. But it's something about the float being too short on the back so then it can only stretch in one direction. I don't know. Anyway, I cast on the right one and I've been knitting it inside out. So all I've done is just flip it like this. And then I just have my working side facing away from me. So I'm still knitting like normal. It's just inside out, which is a little confusing. So I'm just working across the back needle instead of the front needle. I'm still knitting on the front of the fabric, but that gives you just a little bit extra space because the inside of the mitt is on the outside of the fabric. So it gives you just a little bit extra space for the floats to carry across. And it is clearly helping a ton. I used to knit ferrule like this. I always would flip my stuff inside out. And I don't know, I guess I thought I just had enough experience with it that I didn't have to do that anymore, but clearly I do. So yeah, I'm going to tear out the left back to the cuff and just reinsert the needle and just knit the hand again. Still, my rows are really tall. The pattern itself, sorry, I have to keep doing that. The pattern itself has you do, let's look at the pretty one. Keep holding up the ugly one. Has you do 4 of these diamonds going up. But as you can see, like, yeah, this is probably going to sit right about here. Like, I'm only going to do 3. I'm only going to have to do 3. Otherwise, it's going to be like, it would be like up to here. It would be so silly. So it's still a lot less knitting, so it'll go even faster for me. And the yarns and the color combination, I'm not quite so sure about. It's just such a dramatic change in color. I mean, they're complementary colors to each other, so they're as far away from, you know, related as they can get, really. So I just wanted to use stash yarn for this because I just needed some mittens. Settle in for a very sad story of mittens. So I had a pair of mittens that I really loved that was like 4 shades of natural, I think it was Shetland wool, if not British wool of some kind. It was like little mini skeins of undyed wool. So it was all the different sheep shades that went from white to dark brown. And it was also bulky weight, and I had these nice big cozy mittens, and they were so good. And I had them for 1 winter, I made them, and then the next winter, which was last winter, I lost them. I don't know what happened to them. I believe it was the night of a company Christmas party. That's the last time that I saw them. So I'm not sure what happened to those. I was convinced that they got left in the back of somebody's truck for the longest time, but they never did turn up. So they may have gotten left in a restaurant, in a bar, in a parking lot, going to and from somewhere. If I took them off and was stuffing in my bag, they fell out. I don't know. I haven't seen them since then. So I don't have any hand knit mittens, which is a super bummer. I have some like fleece gloves, and that's really all I have. And I have some little fingerless mitts, but they're shorties, you know. They're really for like inside typing on the computer kind of mitts, or like a cool fall day, like not for winter. So I need something for my hands, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time on something because it is snowing outside. It's cold now. It's winter. Ski season just started. So I went into my stash and I found, I had a few other skeins of things. But everything, I had like 3 skeins that were all really close in tone to this one, which is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the spruce colorway. It's looking very blue on screen. It's got more of a green undertone to it. But I would still very much call it a blue yarn. So yeah, I found this one, but the other skeins, 2 other skeins I had were very close in tone to this. So no matter what, I was going to have to use this yellow, because otherwise you just wouldn't have been able to see the pattern. It just would have been too muddled. Yeah, so this is a natural dye of mine, and I don't know what base it's on. I dyed it, I think, 2 summers ago. It's an Aran White base. Pretty sure it might be worsted, but I'm pretty sure it's Aran White. And it's dyed from the chamisa flowers in my garden, also known as rabbit brush. And this is like even a brighter yellow in person. It's giving it, everything's getting kind of like a blue tone to it. So that's an even brighter yellow in real life. So they're very well contrasted, so you can see the pattern great. But I don't know. I mean, it's the stripes. It's just like the dramatic color shift. I feel like it's you know, some schools' colors that I don't know about. Like I should be rooting for a sports team or something, but I don't know which team that is. I feel like maybe they're like Harry Potter colors or something. I don't know. I don't know. I missed the whole Harry Potter thing. I was just like a few years too old whenever they originally came out, and I just kind of like missed the whole boat on that thing. But I'm gonna keep going with it, and I'm gonna finish them. And yeah, I'm gonna tear the left one back and just reinsert the needle and it up. Because the pattern collection had like 4 or 5 other mitten patterns in it, so I just want to get these done so I have some mittens, and then I'll make some more. And they'll look better, and my tension will be better. And I'm going to practice with my ferrule tension on bulky yarn, because apparently that's really hard. Who knew? So, that's all of my works in progress. That's not even true. That is not all of my works in progress. That is all of my works in progress that I have been working on recently. So I'll have some more stuff to show next time. So yeah, no finished objects to show either, since I'm just coming back to it. So hopefully, you know, next time I sit down for a visit, I'll have my Whitehorse done, I will have my headband done, I will have my mittens done, and yeah, I'd be well on my way on some other projects, which would be fantastic. I want to knit my dad a hat for Christmas, but I need the needles that are on this one. So I gotta finish this one before I can start the hat that I have to finish by Christmas. So I gotta get going on that one. So yeah, no finished objects to show, but I have a little bit of natural dye to show, you know, in addition to the stash yarn that I'm using on the mittens project. So it's been cold and snowy, and all of my natural dye setup is on my back porch outside. So yeah. And I have a big rainwater catchment set up. So also, if that's frozen, I can't really use the water to do my dyes with. Thankfully, though, I have well water, and I haven't really noticed any sort of color shift whenever I've used well water for any sort of dye or rinse or anything. So I think I'm pretty safe as far as contaminants go in just my tap water. But I don't like to make a habit of using that. I want to use my rainwater catchment for my natural dye as much as I possibly can. But I was going to go out there the other day. It was after a big snow, but it was a nice warm day. It was like almost 50 degrees outside. It was like 47 or something. And it was nice, and it was sunny, and it's like, you know, it's cool outside, but I'm going to be around the burners, and the pots are going to go, and I was going to mordant some stuff and play around with some marigold dyes and, you know, just experiment with things. But I went out on my back porch, and I was just kind of, you know, seeing if everything was in place and what I needed to collect, and just sheets of snow kept falling off of the roof over my porch, and just like crashing down and splashing everywhere, like all over my dye setup. It's like, you know what? Maybe today is not the best day to be doing that. Yes, some natural dyes. So I didn't want to do anything outside, so I was like, well, you know what? I really want to dye something. Like I haven't dyed anything in a while. I did a bunch of stuff right before Taos Wool Fest in October, which I did not have a booth at the festival, but I had stuff in the shop across the street, so I wanted to have as much as I could have for that. And then I just haven't really done anything since then. I've gone on several trips in between, so I just haven't really been home that much, and catching up on work stuff and life, etc. So I wanted to dye something. So I decided to just do some kitchen sink dyes, and I was like, well, if I can't do it on the back porch, I'll just do a couple skeins and like a smaller pot inside, and just do kitchen dyes. So that's what I did. And I did these two first, And I have one that one is skeined up really well and one is not. That one's all sloppy, but they're the same color. So I dyed this first with coffee grounds. And then, oh my god, there's like hair all over everything. And I don't know if you can see, there, you can see the tonality in it. Some of those little darker sections, that's where the coffee was. So the coffee is kind of striped in there. And then I dyed with onion skins over the top. And it made this lovely, lovely, gorgeous, oh my god, I'm so in love with this color, golden, like butterscotch, toffee, I don't even know, it's so pretty. And I love this yarn too. It's an alpaca wool blend with little tweedy nips, little tweed bits. There, you can see the tweed bits some. It's Aran weight. I do have this base for sale at Vortex if you stop by. And yeah, so I did 2 of those. And then, oh yeah, you can really see the kind of stripe and the tonality there. Yeah, I'm really happy with that one. And then there was still quite a bit of color in the dye pot. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw it into this skein and see what happens. And it ended up quite a bit paler. But then I re-cooked the dye stuff to try and extract more color from it because I thought it could still bring some color out. And sure enough, it did. And it's still a bit pale compared to these. I wanted to see if I could get the same amount of color out of the onion skins as from the first batch, which I did not get that intense, but I just wanted to see kind of how far I could push the onion skins. It's still a nice yellow, but you know, I don't know. It's not, I'm not super excited about it. Either I'll over dye it or maybe I'll sell it as like a one of a kind, you know, just one off color. Yeah. Oh, and then the other thing I was going to show you, because onion skin is like such a cool dye. I love dyeing with onion skins. The problem is just trying to find a source of enough of it to dye anything of quantity. So for these ones, it was like a half Ziploc. I guess, I mean, all 3. It was half a Ziploc of onion skins that I had in my freezer. Like a gallon bag, a half a gallon bag. So that's quite a bit to get this kind of deep color. And this is a non-superwash yarn as well, so it's not going to take the color up quite as significantly as with a superwash yarn. So this, there we go. This is the Chow Cowl, which I made earlier this fall. And you just fold it in on itself so then it's like doubled up around your neck. Oh gosh, you can tell I've like been wearing it. It looks dirty. How embarrassing. Anyway, it's this nice long cabled thing. It's so pretty. And it is knit out of my hand dye from onion skin, but it's a superwash. So you can see like how much more intensely superwash will take up the dye color. You see? Yes, you can see. And if I recall correctly, I think I used a full gallon bag, maybe, for this. And I did 3 skeins total. And yeah, it just turned out to be the most gorgeous gold. So I made this for Dunder Knit's Glorious Gold Along earlier this year. Because it's just like the most amazing color. So, you know, have a little bit more gold in my life. Or somebody will. I'll sell these for sure. Because that's just a lovely color. And I'll try and recreate that, I think. I'm very happy with how that turned out. So that's really it for this installment. This week, I don't know how often I'm going to try and do these. I enjoyed doing it whenever I was doing them last year. It's fun to talk about fiber and craft, and it's a nice thing to hold myself accountable to things. And I love watching other people's podcasts all around the world because I feel like it gives such a nice glimpse into like the local life of some place that I will never live and most likely won't visit, maybe some of the places, but yeah, I just love being able to kind of see that slice of life of people around the world, and of course, see other people knitting the same things that I'm knitting and get feedback and ideas, and try and find that community of rabbits down the fiber rabbit hole. So yeah, I might do this every other week, maybe once a month. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. So is that everything? Vlogmas. That's right. So I was thinking about doing Vlogmas this year, just to jump in feet first and just say, hey, let's just do this podcasting thing. And, but I thought it would be a nice thing because they are these nice little vignette short videos. They're the little slices of life. It's being able to see, I love watching those, just being able to see like, the German Christmas markets or the Christmas lights in London or, the countryside in, Denmark or Pennsylvania or wherever. And I feel like I live in a pretty interesting place that's unlike where most people live, and it'd be pretty fun, I think, to share for other people to see just the cool landscape and kind of different place that I currently dwell. And I thought it would also be a really nice opportunity to take some time every day and consciously notice and then remind myself about those little moments that make myself happy and grateful throughout the day. Just to try to be more accustomed to noticing those things. And I'm going to start with the small things. So, the way the sunlight looks on the snow, the birds flying over the trees, whatever makes me happy. So we'll see how it goes, but I think it's a good practice, and I think it's a good thing to share the things that give you joy and make you happy and make you grateful. And sometimes maybe that'll be my knitting. Sometimes that'll be my dog. Sometimes that'll be the little sparrow that landed on my garden that I never took care of and is finding seeds in my basil plants that I never pulled up. Yeah, just those little moments, and an opportunity to notice them, acknowledge them, reflect on them again at the end of the day, and then share. So I would like to try that as well, and hopefully I'll be back here with some more knitting in 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. Thanks so much for joining me. Please do leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to connect with all the people out there in the wide world. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It is Sunday afternoon here. I don't really have any more plans for the day, so I'll probably look at making myself a nice little dinner and settle in with some knitting. Maybe finish a project. And I hope your knitting is keeping you happy as well. Happy December, everybody, December 1st, and I'll see you next time.